foreign missions from the European Union have raised concerns over political tensions in the country. The joint statement comes after the arrest and beating of opposition MP Robert Chagulanyi, also known as Bobi Wine. He's now been hospitalized while in police custody. He appeared in court on Thursday, charged with unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. Riots have broken out in Kampala as opposition supporters demand his immediate release. The lawmaker was assaulted, allegedly, by police. Wine and several other opposition supporters and MPs have been arrested in connection with an attack on President Museveni's convoy on Monday night. The president was campaigning ahead of a by-election in the hotly contested town of Arua. Well, let's go to Uganda's capital, Kampala, now for a wrap of what happened today. CGTN's Isabel Nakiria joins us live. Isabel, let's start with that statement released by the European Union countries in Uganda. What exactly have they said?
12 heads of missions, Lindy, from the EU countries operating in Uganda have released a statement. They are concerned with the brutal treatment of MPs and other people who were arrested during the fracas in Arua. They say that these events are very disquieting. They've also said that the violence or repression has no place in modern democracy in Uganda. They've called upon the authorities in the country to handle the cases with a full authority and also rule of law. And they say that such events have damaged the reputation of the country. We also have a tweet from the U.S. mission saying that they are concerned with what happened to the members of parliament, and they are calling on authorities to allow immediate medical attention to all the people who are injured and access to their families.
And as we understand it at this stage, Isabel, authorities are denying any allegations of brutal treatment, saying Bobi Wine and others that have been arrested or detained are fine. But of course, Bobi Wine's family has confirmed that he was indeed severely beaten. What else did they say about his condition?
Today, his family, a lawyer, and the Human Rights Commission visited him at the detention facility at the military headquarters here in Kampala, and they say his condition is worrying. A statement put out by his wife says that you can hardly recognize him. His face is all swollen up. He was carried into the room to visit them when they went there, and he could speak, but he was speaking in pain. And one of the first questions he asked was whether they had won the election in Arua. And when they told him that they did win, there was a smile in his face, which was painful, of course. But they say that he has very many brutal marks on his body that show that he was actually attacked. His wife says that he narrated the ordeal. He says that when the bullets were started fired, he was in a restaurant watching television when this all happened, and he was told that his driver was killed. So he ran up to his room, and when he went there, that's when the soldiers came into the hotel and broke into his room and hit him hard on his head with a metal bar, and that's when he lost consciousness. He does not quite remember what happened after that. In fact, today he was shocked that the offenses labeled against him were that he was in possession of firearms and ammunition. Meanwhile, we've also had disturbing news and seen pictures of another member of parliament who has been admitted in a hospital in Kampala. We understand that a military vehicle dropped him at the hospital at 3 a.m. last night, and he's now in, I could quote that, a vegetative kind of condition. He's kind of in a coma-like condition. He's on oxygen. He can't speak, he can't see, he can't talk. So the concerned MPs, members of parliament, visited him, and some of them said that these conditions are very worrying.
Absolutely, very worrying indeed, not only for the lawmakers you've mentioned, but of course Bobi Wine enjoys a wide-ranging support across the country, having risen to prominence through the entertainment sector. But as a politician, do you think his supporters will take to the streets once again, despite the heavy police deployment in Kampala?
Situations like this have happened before in Kampala, and people have come out on the streets to demonstrate, and after 1 or 2 days after the police comes in with tear gas and quells them, suddenly everything goes quiet. Today, it was the second day running when youths in Kamocha, a suburb in Kampala where Bobi Wine grew up, came out on the streets again to protest and demand for his release. We are not sure whether they will do that again after some of them were arrested again. Some were arrested yesterday and some were arrested today as well. And the police has maintained a heavy deployment in that particular suburb. So we are not sure whether they will tonight move their vehicles away or maintain their presence. And if they maintain their presence, I'm not sure whether anyone will come out again to demonstrate. But people are angry, and on social media there are lots of tweets regarding these events.
It's clear that this issue is not going to subside very soon. As you've mentioned, following the report or the confirmation from the family about the extent of injuries suffered by Bobi Wine, of course, the statement coming from the EU missions in the country, and as well as the protests we've seen over the past few days. But in the meantime, has there been any word from governments themselves on all of this tension rising up in Uganda?
The government is quiet. We've not had anything regarding the state of the injured MPs from any government official. In fact, today the army spokesperson tweeted and said that Bobi Wine is now safe in their custody and they will accord him the treatment. He does not need a personal doctor. And so with such very uneasy quiet from the government, people are not sure what's next. But members of parliament today who visited one of the injured MPs in parliament, at the hospital, were not happy with the events. And yesterday when there was a press conference by some of them, they did mention that they would call on masses countrywide to demonstrate. We have not heard or seen them calling for that as yet. Maybe tomorrow something like that will happen.
We'll keep a watchful eye on those events. Isabel Nakedia, thank you for that comprehensive update. And as she says, they're an uneasy calm this evening in Kampala.